All right, so that was chapter 20. And I'll be honest with you, not my favorite episode of the season so far. We're still early in the season. We are, I believe, approaching that halfway mark now. But they got to do something with these kind of varying periods, like time formats for every episode. Like I said, last week we had like an hour episode, practically an hour episode. This week we have a 30-minute, but really felt more like 25, to be honest with you. And I didn't feel like we got any real progression in this series. Now, I will say this, though. It was really cool to see a little glimpse again back into, Grogu's escape from Order 66. Awesome to see Ahmed Best in the episode. And the dude kicked ass. Like, I loved him, seeing him here. And I loved kind of, I guess in a way, and I don't want to say it like this, but this is like a redemption for him. He has been getting a lot of love from the Star Wars fans as of late, especially when he came out, and he talked about how the backlash of Jar Jar, of him portraying Jar Jar, really took a toll on him mentally and all that. Fandom is toxic. It can be, especially once the fandom deems something was badly done or whatever the case. But I'm happy he's able to have this kind of second life in Star Wars, and he's doing really well, and I love that they showcased him here in this episode. So that was definitely one thing I loved about the episode. Another thing I kind of appreciated too was like Bo-Katan, how she kind of still shows that she could still be that leader. And I think because, being that she was abandoned by the people that she was working with before, and she was left all alone, and she was always kind of bred to be that leader presence, that kind of, ruler. Now she's kind of starting from zero all over again, and she's getting accepted into this new clan, and she was able to lead a group of Mandalorians to this stupid, silly mission to save this dumb kid who got himself, captured by a freaking dragon or whatever. And I honestly don't think the mission was worth possibly sacrificing 5 Mandalorians just to save this one bratty kid. But she was able to lead the mission to success, right? So she got that, that sense of, hey, I'm still good as a leader. I'm still doing well here. And she's getting in good favors with this new clan. Whether or not she's going to eventually use that to her advantage, I don't know. You could tell she's still thinking about the mythosaur. That's still haunting her mind. Because also, I'm sure she's thinking about the lore and what that means in Mandalorian culture. If she could somehow tame it, right, and ride it, kind of like how Boba Fett, tamed and rode the Rancor and all that. I could be wrong, so correct me if I am, but in Mandalorian history and culture, the mythosaur is again this mythic creature, and Mandalorians back in the day used to be able to tame these creatures for their benefit, to kind of be like, their warrior buddies or whatever. And those who can tame it and ride these creatures are seen as these high prestigious members of the Mandalorian community and all that. So since she doesn't have possession of the dark blade, right, because Din has it, maybe the next best thing for her is to get herself a mythosaur and go to town with it. But yeah, I mean, the episode wasn't terrible. It was really well directed. I just think, it was, in my own definition of filler. This did feel like a filler, and I hate throwing that term around because I think it is overused, especially in the fandom and especially in series like this. We just got done with season 1 of The Last of Us, and I felt like a lot of people were misusing that term filler for a lot of the episodes, when no, each of those episodes had meaningful things to uncover and unravel and more character development. Here in this episode, I personally don't feel like there was much development in anybody. Again, maybe with the exception of Bo, kind of giving her that sense of accomplishment once again, giving her that sense of belonging, acceptance, So maybe there is some of that character development for herself there, because she finds herself in a position that she has never been in before. So it's good to see that. But Din didn't do anything really in this episode. Grogu was torturing these crabs by the water for his training, and and then we got to see a flashback of him being saved and everything like that. So I don't know. Maybe it's also giving us a sense of the gravitas Grogu is experiencing with now having a home with the Mandalorians, right? Because they're treating him as such. He is going to become a Mandalorian with them. But he's also still in the ways of the Jedi. So is he kind of conflicted on the balance between the two? Which side does he belong to more? The kind of baggage and history that maybe is involved with both sides. So maybe Grogu is in that position where, he's a kid. So he's still trying to figure out where he fits into all of this. So at the end of the day, it was an episode. It was, okay, it was cool. Definitely not the type of episode that I thought you had to really rush to watch right away. I mean, of course, I didn't know that until I saw it. But yeah, it is what it is. I think just for now, I just want to see where are we going in this season, because my whole idea going into season 3 was we were going to spend a lot of time on Mandalore, because, Mandalore is abandoned, barren, and, you had both Bo, who really wanted to go back to Mandalore and kind of reclaim ownership of the planet. You have Din, who now has a Darksaber, so in a way, he has the responsibility of kind of bringing things back to Mandalore and bringing Mandalore back to prominence, right? So I always thought that was going to be the huge main focus of the season. It very well could still be it. It's just they're taking their sweet ass time in all of it, because we went to Mandalore. He bathes in the water because he has to. We saw a glimpse of the mythosaur, and we find out that it is habitable. It's not toxic. It's not dangerous and all that. And then they leave. So when are we going to go back, right? When is that time going to be when it's time to go back to Mandalore and rebuild things, right? And maybe there needs to be an event that happens to force them to go there. I don't know. And then maybe that's when we're going to see Moff Gideon show up again and say, oh, now I got all of you back in one place and now I'm going to wipe you out again. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, for a 30-minute episode, there's really not much else to talk about. So that was it. That was my reaction and my thoughts on the episode. I want to know what all of you think. Did you enjoy this episode? Was this an episode that you really, felt like you were entertained with? Or are you a little bit more like me and you felt like, oh, what happened here? This was kind of a letdown. And, maybe, it wasn't that big of an important episode. So definitely let me know all your thoughts in the comments. That's about it for me for this episode. Again, if you haven't done so yet, I would greatly appreciate if you would hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Don't forget, hit the notification bell to get notified every time a new video is uploaded. For audio versions of the things that we do here on the channel, make sure to find the LOWKEY GEEK podcast channel through your podcast platform of choice, where you could see the recap portion of this episode, along with many other things there for your downloading and listening pleasure. And one last time, if you are in a position to further help the channel grow, don't forget to check out the affiliates found in the description of this episode. You may find something very awesome for yourself or for a loved one. And with any purchase that you make, you'll be supporting this channel with no additional cost to you. And of course, I thank you so much for all of your support. But that wraps things up, and I'm about to head on out of here. So until next week, stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. And I'll catch you next time. All right, peace out, y'all.